Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Welcome everybody to the Don't Be Blasé podcast, coming to you live from the House of Pain, otherwise known as Snap Fitness in the Adelaide CBD. I'm your host, B. Caruana, as joined by my illustrious co-host, Steve Burrows.
The Thuggish Ruggish.
The Thuggish Ruggish? Jesus, that's terrible, man. We'll have to have a word about that in a bit of post-production. But as always, like to thank our sponsor, Larry and Lad. Go see the boys in Region Arcade. Get yourself a fine coffee and listen to some pretty sweet tunes. But for now, we're going to get to the show. Now, if you listened last week, you're one of the 4 or 5 people that did. Thank you.
Thanks, Mum.
Yeah, we'd always like to thank Mum and Dad for listening. But we had a bit of a interesting discussion last week. Not so much about the sports. I won that one hands down. But we had a topic at the end of the show. It was top 5 dead or alive when it came to rappers. And Steve, I'll be honest with you, I had an issue with one of your choices.
The Thuggish Ruggish?
Number 3 of all time on the Steve Burrows list of
Ruggish.
top 5 rappers of all time. He threw a group in there. Number 3. He threw a group in there. Bone Thugs Harmony. That's right. You heard me correctly. Not and Bone Thugs Harmony.
The Thuggish Ruggish.
Top 5 dead or alive ever. You chose Bone Thugs Harmony. Now, Steve, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes here because I've spoken for a couple of minutes. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to redeem your choice because right now, I'm fuming. That's a terrible choice.
Good intro. I appreciate that. That's good. That makes me
really setting you up nicely.
Yeah, I know. Where do I start? Bone Thugs. Well, look, good time in my life. I was probably 15 years old.
Yep. Coincidentally, the last time you had hair.
From you is pretty rich. You know?
This is coming from 2 blokes that have shaved heads, but anyway.
1995. The Crossroads.
Okay, so I'll give you the Crossroads.
No, it wasn't the Crossroads. It was first of the month. First of the month. So get up.
You. I'm so bad.
Crossroads. Yeah,
you're raving about a group. I don't know if you call them a band. But,
I don't know how they call it a band.
No,
I don't even know that with
collective,
hip hop.
A collective.
Yeah.
A rap collective.
Do they sing songs? Or do rappers sing? What do they do?
They're rapping, but they did a song essentially about collecting a dog shit.
That's exactly on the first of the month. That's exactly right.
Oh, that's your favourite.
That's the song that got me into it. So I heard the first of the month, and it was.
You are so deep right now. You need to start digging up
Dude.
because you're in a hole. You're in a hole.
Dude, can you dig out of a hole? It was the first time. It was a flow. It was crazy. It was a crazy bone. I turned. Back in those days, you know, you press record, play, record, pause,
yep,
you know.
Yep.
And I can't remember what station it was, man. I think I don't know. There used to be one on late on Wednesday nights. I don't know if it was even on this channel. It was kind of like the Fresh FM equivalent.
Yep.
I can't remember what it was called. Anyway,
just as a side note, people, we are very old, so
we are.
none of the reference we're going to be anyone under the age of 30 is going to understand. So yeah,
so it was
it may have been we were recording on cassette tapes, and we may have been listening to KAFM.
It may have, I don't know what it was. Man. It was in the old days when they did the old sound effects and stuff. Hey, we are. Anyway, we recorded this track, and it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe I'd heard this song because it sounded like nothing I'd heard before.
Yep.
Like the flow was fast, it was harmonic. It was crazy. So my brother had already heard this track, and he goes, "I've had this CD for the last 3 months. I'm not keen on it. You want to borrow it?" I was like, well, I need to borrow your CD player first because all I got is a cassette tape. Yeah. And I borrowed the CD and we played. And back in those days, that was their first release of that East 99 Eternal album. And it had the original Crossroads song. It wasn't even called The Crossroads, The THA.
Oh.
The Crossroads.
Did Crossroads have a Z at the end of it?
No. It was The Crossroads with an S. But the original track was actually just called Crossroads. No The. And it was a totally different sounding track.
Oh, yeah.
So I remember, we played this album, and I was spun me out because it was solid. And Speed, I really honestly believe you need to go back and listen to the first album. I've probably got it in my car right now. I've got it on my iPhone actually next to me.
I'll be honest, I'm not going to do that, but continue.
and it was so, like, it was so strong. It's probably top 5. It would definitely be top 5 albums.
Yeah, okay.
All time.
Now I get this, and I understand that when you hear someone with a different flow for the first time, it can catch your ear. But like, so I'm the same way with Busta Rhymes. First time I heard "Got You All in Check."
Yeah.
They played it on Triple J. Oh my god, that was one of the very first hip hop songs I remember just falling in love with. Just the way he raps so quickly, and then he had that real strong voice and stuff. Like, I got that. I haven't been like, you know, a diehard. Busta Rhymes wasn't in my top 5, and that song was one of those songs that, to me, that was that song.
Yeah.
But
we're talking an album here.
okay, you talk about one album. Is this you're basically?
No. This was kicks it off. Kicks it off, and then not long after the album, actually, it was probably before the album actually dropped. Eazy-E died.
Yeah.
And he was a huge contributor to that hip hop group. He's the one who signed them to Ruthless.
Oh, it's his fault.
Yeah, that's right. He was on a few of their old tracks.
Oh,
exactly. So they released that second, The Crossroads.
Oh,
The Grammy winning.
Grammy winning.
Yeah, the Grammy winning.
Okay, but just to cut you off, Will Smith has won a Grammy for hip hop. So let's
Was
not.
that which one of them? Switch?
No, first one. The one that had Summertime on it. The one.
Really?
Yeah,
like
the one,
Boom Boom Shake the
yeah,
Room?
that one. Yeah. Once again,
How did he miss that one?
this is an important part of the show, guys. If this is the first show you've heard, facts don't matter on this show, so don't text us, don't tweet us, don't send us Instagram. Go, oh, you got that one wrong. We don't care. We're arguing here, and facts don't matter.
That's exactly right.
But you go with they won a Grammy. Who
Yeah,
cares?
so no. You want to know why?
Okay,
I'm
tell
trying
me,
to
tell
give
me,
you
tell me.
feedback.
Okay.
Why they were. So they come out the Crossroads, which is huge. It was like 9 weeks on number 1. I remember like beat some Beatles record, I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
Yeah, facts. Check it out. Hashtag. Did I say that right? Facts. Hashtag facts.
You're old and white, Steve.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So, so it used to be part of my rap battles, and and I actually created that hashtag. Anyway, and what happened is they brought out this straight away. They brought out this double album. When in 96, 97, the cool thing to do was to bring out a double album.
Yep.
Tupac did it.
Biggie did it.
Wu-Tang
did it. Yeah.
And Bone Thugs did it. They all did it. That's top 4 groups / artists of all time.
Well, at the time, yeah.
And so they brought this, and that was strong as well. So straight away we got 2 back-to-back albums within a space of probably 18 months for me to hear them.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, then the research begins.
Okay, so all of a sudden they've released 2 albums.
The 2 albums.
One album both albums have the same song on it, just added a word to the front of it, and that was the only really popular song on the second album. And you're putting them top 3 all time.
Wait, and then what happens is actually, you know what? I don't even know if I got my facts right, because in the art, it was called The Art of War, which was the second album. The reason why they called it The Art of War is because they were so huge and so popular that all of a sudden there became these copycats, biters, as I say in my hood, biters, and then also loads of groups called Do or Die, and I don't know. That one group come out of Chicago. Remember Twister? Remember that dude Twister?
Yes,
Yeah. They all started beefing. Anyway, so it's called The Art of War. There's a song on there called, and don't laugh, but it was called If I Could Teach the World. And it would go, if I could teach the world to be a thug in harmony. That was the hook.
Oh,
I think that might have been the Grammy.
Oh, okay, that also won a Grammy? Or?
I don't know. There was a lot of Grammys being thrown around in those days. Bone Thugs caught a few of them.
Just to throw that, Fetty Wap has a Grammy, and you don't even know who that is.
I've never heard of
He's
that.
only got one eye.
Okay.
I don't mind a bit of Fetty Wap, but this is what I'm trying to say. Like, throwing out Bone Thugs won a Grammy is
No.
bad argument.
It's not the reason. It's not the reason. But what happened is that then you start doing research, and this is, got the old 24K modem out and started researching. Outofvista.com, I think it was, Yahoo.com. This is well before Google.
Anyone under the age of 30 listening to this, you have no idea. The internet used to be a thing that you had to have. Not everyone had the internet. You didn't just have it on your phone. You had to go to somebody's house if they had the internet, and you had to get on a shitty dial-up modem, and it went really slowly. And that was the thing. You had to get on the internet.
You would call up through your phone line.
So you couldn't be on the phone and use the internet.
So you'd be like, everyone, I'm on the internet. Do not
get on the phone.
Exactly.
I'm trying to get on ICQ.
ICQ, the chat system.
Oh yeah.
I think
way before texting.
Well, yeah. Actually, my brother, totally spiraling off here, but my brother met his first wife.
Yeah.
Via
ICQ?
ICQ.
Fantastic.
Yeah, there you go, 1997.
Second wife through Tinder, or?
Yeah.
Just loves the apps. Just loves, yeah.
He was a founder of this website dating. Anyway, so going back, so I started researching, and then you hear this, you go back and you hear the original stuff, which is, the Thuggish Ruggish bone and For the Love of Money, and it was incredible. And then all of a sudden, you start making mixtapes and mix CDs, and
big fan of the mixtape.
You didn't have thousands of songs on your iPod. You didn't have like streaming devices. So when you put a CD in rotation, that is in rotation.
I do agree with that one.
So
I had a few CDs in the car, and you'd listen to the same album over and over again, or the same compilation that you'd made up yourself over and over again. People always wonder why I know every word to every song they listen to.
Yeah, that's right.
You just listen to. You didn't have like a streaming service that had like a channel that you could listen to a whole bunch of songs. You had the same 22 or 21 songs that you burnt onto a CD.
It's funny. Yeah, that's right. And back in our day, the music you liked defined how cool you were. And
so you're saying because you listened to Bone Thugs, you were not very cool?
Dude, it is amazing how much hate I got. Because they sold like 50 million albums.
It's not just me arguing with you.
Dude,
it's more than one person.
Yeah, I've had this argument. We've had nearly fights about this stuff, man.
I'm just going to quick shout out to the SEMO All-Stars because I know everybody that used to play. This is our old rec league basketball team called SEMO All-Stars, which I've never actually understood why.
I'll tell you a story.
But we would all, to a man, gang up against Steve on this topic. And this man is so stubborn, he wouldn't budge 1 inch on Bone Thugs being the best. We've tried to throw other arguments, like the one I'm going to throw at you right now, that Wu-Tang is better than Bone Thugs. I would even throw NWA is better than Bone Thugs. And you still back your Bone Thugs.
Dude, yeah, 100%. Look, and NWA, you can't throw NWA. NWA was good because they broke grounds.
Yeah.
But their catalogue isn't great. They've got half a dozen songs. Go back and listen to it. Obviously, they were huge when that movie came out, and everyone jumped on the bandwagon. But if you listen to the catalogue, it wasn't massive. It was good for the time.
They've got about, I'll give you that. They've got about 6 really, really amazing tracks, and that's
right.
about it. Yeah.
Wu-Tang, Wu-Tang's actually not far from there. They brought out that first album.
Be careful because Wu-Tang's for the kids.
Oh, really? Does kids still like Wu-Tang?
Wu-Tang is for the kids. Keep going.
Oh, so Wu-Tang, their first album was hot ass.
It's amazing.
But I tell you what lost their credibility. I remember I was sitting in the class, it was 1996, 97, I was in year 11, year 12, and I remember some girl goes to me, "Hey, Steve, you got to get the new Wu-Tang album?" And I was like, they're not cool.
That's not cool anymore.
If you like it, how the hell am I going to like it?
So you think because you're on an island with Bone Thugs, that makes them cool because you're the only one that likes them outside of their immediate family.
At the time, I was obviously a hip hop connoisseur, and so basically, look, man, I love. When we were in the States, I think we was in 2003. We went to America and traveled with my brother, the co-founder of website dating, and 2 mates. And we went out there and we did some massive road trip. We got those old Winnebago 30-footer things. And we took on the road. He lived in Tennessee, and the reason why we were there is we were going to go watch Michael Jordan play. At the time for Wizards, it wasn't proper Michael Jordan. So
Michael Jordan left a team and played for another team?
He did, and I was a Wizards fan. I got all this Wizards merch.
You will jump on a bandwagon quicker than you'll jump into Winnebago. But continue your stories. Fuck.
So we went driving. Anyway, my brother, he's he's a really high-strung dude. So it's important you know that, I guess, when I tell the story. So, like, he's driving. He wouldn't let none of us drive because he lived in the States at the time. And so he thought he would drive. And it was late at night. It must have been 2 a.m. in the morning. And, you know, you get that real stupid delirious at that time.
Oh, yeah, we've all been
Everything's funny.
Yep.
Yeah, he didn't
Everything's
find
a
it
good
funny.
idea.
No.
Come on, Matty.
Yeah, probably, Matty. And so, anyways, we're going past Cleveland. In the States, you drive past cities. You drive because of the big freeways. And my mate Brett's like, oh, you can see this Indian Stadium, and it's right next to Gund Arena. I don't know if it's called Gund Arena
It's
anymore.
the queue now, yeah.
Right. And they're right next to each other. And so Brett's like, dude, I've got to take a photo of this. Yeah. And we're like, oh, and Matt's like, oh, yeah, how are we going to get back on the freeway? No, don't worry, we'll work that out. We'll get there. So he's like, all right. So we got off the freeway and we drive in and we take in Happy State. And this is not on our iPhones. These are on the old traditional cameras. We have no idea if these cameras are going to work out. I think I still got them to develop. I still got a big W and get them developed.
Still going to pick them up from the chemist.
Anyway. So we took our photos and we started driving down this street. Yeah. We assumed, look, if we head this way, we're gonna, it's parallel with the freeway, so we're gonna get on there. Eventually, the freeway disappears. Okay. We can't see the freeway no more. But what I can see is the street signs. Yeah. And I keep seeing them, and it's all starts with letter E. E. All starts at E. So E47. Yeah. E53. We're driving. No one's on the street. There's no one on the street. It's a shitty, rainy day.
It's evening at this time, yeah?
Yeah, so it's water everywhere. Sorry, yeah. It's obviously really, really late. 2:30 in the morning, probably. And it's rain everywhere and big, massive puddles. And we're cruising along. And it occurred to me, I'm like, dude, we're in Cleveland. Yeah. Bone Thugs and Harmony Land.
Bone Thugs and Harmony Land.
Dude.
They renamed Cleveland for the day, didn't they?
It's clear. Yeah, LeBron's a big Bone Thugs fan, by the way.
Oh, don't do this to me.
Yeah,
continue.
Huge fan.
Come on.
Anyway, so we're driving along, and I said, our mate, we call him Navi Dog because he loved the maps. Yeah. He thought he was a navigator. He was sleeping, so we'll shit out of luck. We'll just drive, and we're driving. And
so you don't have your Google Maps.
We don't have no Google Maps. It was back in the day. We coined Navi Maps didn't catch on. So we're driving along, and I said to my brother at the time, I said, dude, we're up to East 75 or something. I said, Bone Thugs are not far away from here, man.
Well, they're just going to be sitting on their street.
They're just hanging.
What was their street?
They out of work. There's East 99.
East 99. So you're 15 streets away.
Yeah, we're a few blocks. And I said to him, and this was 2003, so there wasn't much going on for Bone Thugs at the time. So I was hoping they were just hanging out.
At 3 in the morning, yeah.
At 3 a.m. in the morning. And so we kept driving, and all of a sudden I could see my brother tensing up. Yeah. Because you have to understand, we'd been, up until this point, we'd been LA, we'd been South Central. He had a heart attack then as well because he thought we were getting jacked. Yeah. We'd been through ghettos, because that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to see...
As 4 white guys from Australia,
yeah,
we really wanted to get into the inner city.
We did. We wanted to see what it was all about. We're big hip-hop fans, and Matt is a big hip-hop fan, but he's a bit more conservative than us. Anyway, so you could see him straight up, tighten up. He didn't want to be there anymore. And it got to a point where the light, it was a red light, and he just freaked out. He just slammed his brakes on. And rather than being at the intersection, we're now in the middle of the intersection. No, we're blocking cars from going either way. And I just remember saying to him, I said, Matty, hey, we should probably go. And he just turned around like, fire in his eyes. And I was like, okay, we can't talk to him. It's important you know that because he was really upset. And this will play on as the story unfolds. So we got to East 93. By this time, Navi Dog had woken. Okay.
And he's now telling you you're in a bad part of town.
He said, yeah, guys, we were meant to chuck a righty some time ago. And Brett, who is hilarious, Speed knows Brett quite well, he's like, well, we just got to stop and ask someone. And there was a petrol station. So we pull up. It was East 93, I remember. We weren't far away from Bone Thugs. And I was like, come on, man, we got a few more blocks. And they weren't having it. So he gets out, and I remember he got out, and we locked our doors. We got out.
You're loyal friends, but not that loyal.
Yeah. We closed the blinds. We're like, we'll tell your mum you loved it. And he ran inside, and I remember he talked to the guy behind the bulletproof glass, which was pretty crazy at the time. And I'm like, you got to head back. And he comes running back, and he's banging on the door, and we made sure it was him before we let him in. And he comes, he goes, dude, we got to do a Yui.
Yeah.
So at this point in time, my brother was not in the mood for talking.
Yeah.
And we were laughing. We thought it was hilarious, you know. And we had to do a Yui, which is hard to do in a Winnebago as it is. Anyway, we started heading back to where we just came from. And we all just thought it was hilarious, and we would like, telling fake stories. And I was in the front seat, and I just remember it was, like I said, a really rainy day that day. Puddles are everywhere. And I see probably, 100 meters maybe ahead of me, there was this, what appeared to be a liquor store.
Yep.
Because there was 3 or 4 dudes hanging out there with nothing else to do other than hold up the wall. And we're driving, and then I looked just ahead of them, and it was like lake air of puddles right in front of them.
Yeah.
And I saw it, and I was like, oh, Matty didn't see that. But Matty didn't see anything. He was
just angry.
He was an angry man. And we have to understand, we were young. We had a big Australian flag on our Winnebago. We were almost like the Griswolds Australian version.
Yep.
And we were driving, and it would come up, and I said, Matty, dude, there's a puddle right there. And he just
wasn't having it.
Wasn't listening. He blocked me out at that point in time. Because when we argued earlier, he was like, no, I'm going home. I'm going back to Tennessee. You can do the trip without me. Yeah. He blocked us out. And as I got closer to the puddle, and I reckon they looked at the puddle and they looked at us coming up, and they said, they're not going to drive through that puddle. And I looked at them, and I think we clicked eyes, and I was like apologising to them. And we went straight through that puddle, man.
And sprayed the boys.
Sprayed these dudes.
Oh, no.
And the funny thing is, at that point, Matty realised what had happened. And at that point, he actually got even tighter, because you can't just hide when you're in a Winnebago.
No, there's a big Australian flag in the back of it, in the middle of the ghetto in Cleveland.
Dude, yeah, and it was like, is it like a comedy film, man? You in the background, you still hear the revs. We're going 70 now, 70 miles an hour down like a 35-mile-an-hour road. It was hilarious. Dude.
That's a good story. I'll give you that. So you didn't quite get to the sacred home of the Bone Thugs.
We got to 93.
93. So you're 6 blocks short of seeing the Crazy Bone.
Of Crazy Bone. Yes.
Is it something that still sticks in you? Is it something that you feel like you need to complete the journey?
I went on the honeymoon with my wife. I mentioned it to her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, we didn't even make Cleveland.
No.
We
Not
drove
really a holiday destination.
Cleveland. There's not much to see in Cleveland.
Good choice there, Jonah. You don't want to stop it because, I mean, Bone Thugs really, they're not that transcendent. They're not. I understand, like I said, our lists are subjective. You can make your own choices. Hey, I put Redmayne in mine.
Yeah.
But the Bone Thugs, it's such an obscure choice when there's only really a very small sample size of music. I mean, like I always like to go back to the whole where, I put Biggie and Tupac in there. And unfortunately, they died well before their time.
Yeah,
and
25 or something.
Yeah, one was 26, 25. But they are transcendent legends now. Now, luckily, it's that goes back to that old saying: you either die the hero, or you live long enough to see someone become a villain. Mate, they've lived too long; they're villains. Had they died after the crossroads, that maybe I'll give you some credit for it. Like I've always joked with my friends that maybe if Lil Wayne died after the Carter 3. He may have gone down in top 5. Now, I know you're getting tired about that. Calm down, Matthew. But, like, you're not a huge fan of Lil Wayne, but the Carter 2, Carter 3, he was on fire. He was, like, the top of hip-hop at the time. Had he died straight after that, and there was a couple of close calls, he would have probably gone down as one of those, possibly could he be the greatest of all time? This is audio, people. You cannot see the face of Steve pulling right now. But I'm just saying that's what would happen. That's what happened with Lil Wayne.
His best song was on the Eminem track.
Oh,
yeah, that
No Love.
No, yeah,
he had better than that. If you get Carter 2 before he really sort of hit it, there was some really good stuff on that. I'll give him credit. I was a Lil Wayne fan briefly. Some of the newer stuff is just it's just disgusting. But like I said, it's all about the sample size. Like you've chosen a group that just don't have much to hang their hat on.
That's where you're wrong, because although in the masses' eyes they probably fell off, around 97.
Not probably.
They
did fall off.
Look, I've got all their albums. I've got Crazy Bone.
Both of them.
No, mate, you were talking 20 something years that they've been going. We're
Yeah.
talking, they probably got 50. I think they got 8 studio albums.
Yeah.
10 mixtape
So
albums.
you're the one that bought them.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the one. I get invited to the Christmas lunch. I do.
Crazy Bones at your Christmas card. Thanks for the support. You're the only one left.
Yeah, and Crazy Bone's got his individual stuff.
Okay, this is another example. Who else is in the band except for Crazy Bone?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because Crazy Bone, and I'll tell you what, and this is making me fall off, and I think I guess it's a generation now because it's so easy or it's easier to release music now.
Yes.
So there's not these harsh critiques which will stop you because they've invested $2 million in the album that's not making the cut. Unfortunately, Crazy Bone, I read an article, he's the busiest, hardest rapper alive at the moment. But busy doesn't necessarily translate to successful
Quality,
tracks.
yes.
Yeah. But when he hits, and he still does hit,
Okay.
he comes out, him and Busy Bone.
Busy Bones. So Crazy
Bone.
Bone and
Busy
Bone.
Bone's the one, the lighter skin, real high pitched voice.
Yep. Now, Busy, I do know Busy has several Z's in it, yes?
Two Z's.
Two Z's, two E's. Yep.
Yes, 2 Z's.
Just to clarify.
Yeah, and they've actually released an album
Oh, really?
last month or the month before, just called Bone Thugs.
It's called Bone Thugs.
Yeah, dropped the.
Harmony.
They dropped that.
Not harmonic anymore, they're just thugs.
Just Bone.
As you put it earlier, Thuggish Ruggish.
Thuggish Ruggish.
They do with the air quotes because that is just horrendous.
And they released an album called New Waves.
New Waves.
Yeah, New
Oh.
Waves.
You enjoyed the New Waves, did you? Because I don't think anyone else did. Because this is the thing. Like you will argue and you have argued, and I've been witness to some of these argues that Bone Thugs are more important to hip hop than Wu-Tang.
Well, definitely. I mean, Wu-Tang. Okay.
Just because little, Snot Nose Sally told you in year 11 that she asked you if you had the Wu-Tang album and she thought Wu-Tang was cool, so therefore not cool because everyone knows Snot Nose Sally's no good. You're going to completely dismiss a culture-changing group like Wu-Tang.
Dude, I'm a Wu-Tang fan. I am a Wu-Tang fan. They're just not number one, man. They had the first album.
Yeah.
They had.
Basic changes. They've got classics. Not only they got classic songs, like Gravel Pit.
Yeah, but Gravel Pit was. It's funny. They fell off. Gravel Pit was the only song. I bought the album.
Yeah.
I bought the album without listening to it. Remember in the old days?
Yeah.
You get
You had to buy-
headphones.
and you listen to the CD store.
And you listen to the
There
CD
was,
store.
just for the younger folk, there were CD stores, and you had to ask the people behind the desk if you could sample the CD and listen to it over some headphones.
It was like oral history for the librarians and stuff.
It was
man.
very bad.
It's crazy.
You couldn't just sample it on the streaming services. You had to go into a record store and listen to it. We're very old. Continue.
Sorry. So, I bought that. It's called The W.
I've got it.
Yeah, and Gravel Pit is the only song that is worth listening to. And
Now,
that was only, 4 years? No. It'd be probably 6 years after the 36 Chambers come out.
But they
So
did have another album in between.
They did.
Wu-Tang Forever.
Which the double album.
Yep, double
which
album.
was very solid.
Yes.
So
Triumph,
let's
amazing songs. So 2 albums so
and Reunited.
far.
Reunited was a song. Reunited. Remember the Reunited is an awesome song. It's got Meth, Jizza, RZA, and Old Dirty Bastard.
Yep.
And it's got these violins in the background.
Yeah.
And that's one of the coolest
It's a
tracks.
big thing for mine. Any hip hop song with violins is huge in my book.
Really, yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's a fantastic. We heard that song because we downloaded it on our 28 kilobyte modem,
Oh, there you go.
and it literally took us. It was me,
So old.
old Matty, he was happy that day. Brett and a guy called Mike,
Natty.
and no, Nav didn't get the call up this day. And we downloaded. It took us literally about 60 minutes, and we got to hear a 45-second snippet.
There you
And
go.
that was enough for us to then go, oh my God, this is the craziest album of all time. So yeah, that was a huge album. But let's parallel it with Bone Thugs.
Oh, here we go.
So
Tied in.
let's have a look at it. East 99
Yep.
and 36 Chambers.
Yep.
Okay, they were came out
They're the
very
number
similar
ones,
timing.
the number one albums.
Straight away, the next album was a double album,
Yep.
The Art of
Triumph
War
and Forever.
and Forever, right? Both multi-platinum,
Yeah.
both huge albums.
Yeah.
You know, by this point, they're killing. They're probably 12 million albums deep.
Yeah.
The third album that Bone Thugs came out with was not commercially successful, But
obviously.
neither was Woo. And the thing is, Woo had the gravel pit.
Yeah.
And they were based on, because they were, I guess, considered harder.
Yeah.
So then you've got, the quote, tough guys who listen to that stuff.
Gravel Pit was a bit of a pop song.
It was a huge pop song. And what was that, 2001, you think?
Oh, facts don't matter, but yeah.
Yeah,
let's go
and
2001.
when was the next album they released?
It's about a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that's right, man. So once again, they were hot for literally 2.5 years.
Yeah, but the thing is, they've also had their offsets have all done very well individually. Like you mentioned that Crazy Bones dropped the album, and you've mentioned Crazy Bone, you've mentioned Busy Bone.
Yeah.
Both terrible names. Both members of apparently the Bone family. But you also, when you mentioned Wu-Tang, you dropped RZA, Jizza, Old Daddy Bastard, Inspect the Deck, Method Man. You can mention a lot of the members.
Yeah.
There
was 27 of them.
They're classics. Like ODB, rest in peace ODB. He was incredible. Another one of those people that when you heard him on a track, he's the one that dominates the track.
Did he dominate the Busta Rhymes track when he did the remix on Got You All in Check? You mentioned that before. Was that last time or this time? You mentioned Got You All in Check.
No, that was on. I think it was on. No, but Got You All in Check. No,
did because they did a remix.
Yeah, okay, but we're not mentioning remixes.
I just want to know.
Original tracks, man. Original tracks. ODB, Dirty I Got Your Money. They still play that. They still play that in clubs. It's a classic. If you hear Shimmy Shimmy Ya, you will still get down to that. They used it in the Kevin Durant ad for Nike recently,
cool,
because it's a classic beat, but then you just know his voice. And anytime you hear that, oh baby, I like it raw.
Yeah, that's cool. Brooklyn's.
Exactly. So he had, like I said, they all had their individual success too. Like we've discussed Redman, so he was with Method Man. They had the Blackout album. They had that individual success.
Yes.
They even did films together. The Wu-Tang guys branched out and came back together and branched out and came back together, and that's what made them.
They play at Heaven now.
No, they don't. They played at Coachella.
Meth and Red, didn't they come to...
Meth and Red individually, but Wu-Tang as a collective played Coachella. They played the major...
But you know why? Because you know why they play that
because
now?
Because they're better than Bone Thugs.
Not because they're better, it's because Retro comes back. The kids these days, they're like, did you say before Wu-Tang? The kids listen to Wu-Tang. They weren't even born
like I said,
it's like me saying, the Stones.
The 90s stuff is coming back. They're having these 90s concerts and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Hell, even Kid and Play get...
Oh my God.
Get on some of these... in the States, Kid and Play are huge on the 90s.
You're taking...
But then I'm saying, even with that, with the nostalgia thing, I have not seen one thing with Bone Thugs and Harmony and your two members that you can mention... Crazy Bone. Drop the names. Drop them.
There's Flesh and Bone.
Flesh and Bone. It's fucking shit.
Wishbone.
Oh.
And Lazy Bone.
Oh, stop it. That is some of the... That's terrible.
That's marketing 101. That's brand acknowledgement.
That sounds like the shitty lineup for the baseball team on the Flintstones. All right? That is terrible. That is... Oh, that's horrendous. So, like I said, Wu-Tang is that Wu-Tang W. Is one of the most recognisable symbols. There's even a cafe in Adelaide down at Brighton it's called Cream, based on that cash rules everything around me. It's coffee rules everything around me. That's how much they've influenced culture. Even here in little old Adelaide, they're such a big success. So that's why Wu-Tang will always be better and more influential
because of the W.
Just for the W alone, is better than your Bone Thugs and Harmony. 36 Chambers is that good an album. Most hip-hop fans will admit it's one of the probably top 5 hip-hop albums of all time.
Sure.
No one's throwing that out there with the or just regular no the Crossroads or it's the first of the month. Like no one is raving about those tracks as much as they're talking about, that 36 Chambers album, Bring the Ruckus,
I think they brought out the Crossroads too early. I think that's what it was. So,
that was it. That was
it. They should have held that on because what happened is, what did you call us? Sally Snot or whatever it was?
Sally Snotface. Yeah,
Sally
Snotface Sally.
She jumped also on the Crossroads.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, and then she played it for Mum and Dad, and that's the only reason. It's free credibility.
They lost it. Once Sally jumped on board, it was all over.
That's all it was.
That's why you stopped at East 1993 and turned around. Just couldn't make the full pilgrimage because they're not worth it because of Sally. She ruined everything.
Oh man, we never made it to the Shaolin temples.
We never made it. That's okay. another example of this is the second podcast, and I believe after that concession speech, I am now 2 for 2. Wu-Tang, much more important and influential than Bone Thugs, Harmony. And that's going to end that argument. I'm stopping that right there. I'm going to stop that right there. So we're going to have to stop that argument right there because we have to move on to the next topic, Steve. Sorry, mate. We have to move on. That's 2-0 for me.
So much more to give.
We're going to go for our top 3 from 3. Yes, this is the top 3 3-point shooters of all time. Steve, you can have the first swing at it.
Does it have to be NBA?
No, just top 3 from all time. 3-point shooters.
Definitely, I'm going to say Steph Curry. Steph, that's ridiculous. Conversation over. Then Ray Allen would be number 2.
Jesus, Shuttlesworth.
Honorable mention is like Reggie Miller. He was gun.
So you're not putting him in number 3?
No.
Honorable mention, Reggie?
No. Now you know the 3 because I'm thinking. I think.
So you went too quickly on your first 2. You rushed through
the
them.
The first are obvious.
Yeah.
And I'm not arguing with anyone because that's ridiculous. If you don't even look like you're going to say Klay Thompson, don't even fix your mouth like you're going to say.
You take it on my front.
Yeah, take it on my front. Don't say. But look, the dude I'm going to say because you got me thinking before is Andrew Gaze.
Andrew Gaze.
Because, you know, that guy, actually, you know what, that guy is one of the best scorers of all time. Had he just had like another, 2 to 3 feet on the vertical, he would have been an NBA star. His whiteness and grey hair stopped him from being an NBA star.
I'm a big believer of the theory that had he joined the NBA when he came out of college instead of coming back, because the little known fact is that as much as I hated Andrew Gaze because he played for the Melbourne Tigers and we are diehard Adelaide 36ers fans here, he had the talent to play there, but he wanted to come home and play with his dad. His dad was the coach, and the legend thing, and that's where he
And he was a starting shooting guard, and
he was the MVP. He was for anyone that may be listening from overseas, Andrew Gaze was the Michael Jordan of the NBL, National Basketball League, for many years. He was just unstoppable. Could just shoot, pass, everything. He was
unbelievable. He really was. The only thing that lacked was his athleticism.
Yeah, he was.
The dude was 6'7" and
very
finger
wide.
rolled it on breakaway layups.
Yeah.
He board tapped it sometimes.
So that's what you're giving. You're giving me Steph. You're giving me Ray Allen.
I just threw Gaze in there because that guy, I remember in the 2000 Olympics, him and Kenny, I think it was 2000 Olympics or 2008, him and Kenny Smith were covering it, and they had a shootout. And they're both retired, well past their prime, and he drilled Kenny Smith. Kenny Smith
was a solid shooter.
Solid shooter. And that just showed to me that, our 3-point line's a little bit closer, but that guy was money. Every time.
Well, that's a good top 3 from 3. Now mine follows a very similar trend to yours. I'm going to go number 1, Steph Curry. You cannot argue with the chef. The fact that he doesn't even shoot standard distance threes.
No.
He will shoot them from 2 or 3 steps behind. The bloke routinely makes them from just inside halfway. It's just, and the release, the speed of the release, it's just every time he throws it up, you think it's going in.
100%.
It's more of a disappointment if it's if it bounces out than if it goes in. Number 2, I'm going to give to Larry Joe Bird. Even though I've been a diehard Lakers fan my whole life, and the Celtics, were always the enemy, you can't go past Larry Bird's. Essentially, just for the 3-point shootout. I know there was some time in the 80s. Once again, facts don't matter. Goes to the All-Star weekend, 3-point shootout. 1, doesn't even take off his warm-up jacket. And number 2, the long-standing the source is that he walks into the locker room before the 3-point shootout and goes, right, which one of you guys is coming second? You got to love confidence like that. And not only did he hit threes, he hit game-winning threes. This is back when the game was designed around you played from the inside out, and 3-pointers were a bit of a delicacy. It was one of those things that you did, it was a specialty.
Yeah, that's right.
But he could do it. If he wanted to shoot from 3, you had as much confidence as him shooting from 3 as him shooting allowed, because he also suffered from the Andrew Gaze treatment of being very white and very unathletic. But he had one of the purest strokes. There's NBA players that will tell you the stories of Larry Bird constantly going out to 3-point, to tell people what the play was to win the game. He would tell them, I'm going to hook around here, come off this screen, I'm going to catch it and shoot it in your face. And then he'd do it. I just, as a man who is like myself, I admire the arrogance I admire the confidence and I admire the ability to shoot three. So my number 2 is Larry Bird. Now, I'm going to throw in my special reference there, as you did with Reggie Miller. Mine's going to be J.R. Smith. I've got a soft spot for JR. Game 5 of the NBA Finals this year, just go 7 for 8. He's that guy that's going to go, he's going to go 7 for 8, or he's going to go 1 for 10. But you're always excited to see what's going to happen.
I'm not excited, no. He was a guy who cost Carmelo Anthony a shot at the title.
He's cost a lot of people.
He has.
He's cost himself a lot of money.
His bonehead plays. He could have been part of Bone Thugs and Harmony. His bonehead plays that he pulls, he's dreadful.
Well, JR Bone is my special reference. But number 3, I'm going to go for the same sort of thing that you did. Shane Hill.
Oh, Shane Hill.
Shane, the Hammer.
Oh.
Once again, part of the hated rivalry of the Adelaide 36ers. He was a Sydney Kings assassin, but just purely for the game.
You were going to say that. 1996?
I think even earlier than that.
96 on the way to Atlanta.
Was it?
On the way to Atlanta as a warm-up game.
The Boomers had a warm-up game against the USA Dream Team. And it was Dream Team 2.
Yeah.
So who was missing there?
96.
Larry Bird,
Jordan,
Magic,
all the old guys.
So all the classics. But it was a big deal for us, and we were young Australian men, and we were huge basketball fans, and this was our chance to show our best against the America's best, and we had gays.
Do you remember? I remember Carl Malone. Obviously, he was playing for the Dream Team too. But we had a guy called Andrew Vlahoff.
We had Andrew Vlahoff,
who I thought was monster, and then he stood next to Carl Malone,
and he seemed very less than monster. Yeah, with our domestic game, 6'5", 6'6" is huge.
Mark Bradkey.
Yeah, Mark
was 6'9". I don't think
he was 6'9", and he was a big man. He was a centre. We do love Mark Bradkey. He's a former 36er, even though he went to Melbourne.
Played NBA as well.
He did, yeah.
Got a couple games.
We were very proud of our domestic league because at the time basketball was booming, and so like NBL was big at the time too. So all the kids got into it. It was our thing, and then there was no better from 3 than Shane the Hammer Hill. He had the overhead release, and in this game against the Dream Team, he only hit like 7 or 8 threes.
7 threes.
And so much so that there's one thing that we have the pride in. This is the only thing that we had pride from because then we lost the game by about 30.
We did.
But Shane Hill hit his 7 or 8 threes, and on one of them, Barkley just undercut him.
He did.
Charles Barkley, NBA legend, Hall of Famer, just dropped a shoulder into his legs as he released the 3. And he hit the 3.
Oh, he nailed it.
And that was the big thing. Like Charles was a superstar, and this is this young upstart from Australia who knows who it is. And Shane Hill showed the true Australian spirit and fight and got straight in Barkley's face.
It was massive.
And I'm sure I'm not the only Australian that swelled up with pride that this little white dude from Australia who loved the game, who could shoot the lights out, didn't back down from the big American, the big all-star, the big round mountain rebound. He just went straight and bumped him in the chest and pretty much bounced off him.
It was amazing.
He still gave it the fight, and that's all we appreciated.
That was incredible.
It was a big moment for us. And so on that note, we'll end today's show. The pride of
Go look it up. Look it up.
Go look it up. I'm sure it's on YouTube. That's the wonderful thing. You guys don't have to worry about your dial-up internet these days. Just pull up your phone, pull up YouTube. You can look it up. Shane Hill versus the Dream Team. You'll see the fight, and it was just a wonderful moment of Australian pride.
It was incredible. Funnily enough, that was actually a good year for Australian basketball. Do you remember the women's basketball team led by Michelle Timms?
There you go, the Opals.
Never saw Michelle Timms and Shane Hill in the same room at once. Actually, I think that was conjecture. I don't know.
It may have been the same person, but yes.
It might have been the same person because she could jack threes.
She could. There was a bit of a rumour at the time. They didn't remember. But our Opals, our ladies' team's always been amazing. Yeah, we do love our basketball. We love our Australian basketball. The women's have always done much better than the men's. We've had, our Michelle Timms-led teams, Joe Hill, Rachel Spawn.
Lauren Jackson.
Good Lord, could that girl play. But that's another story for another time, guys. This is the Don't Be Blasé podcast. This is Speed Caruana signing out. Steve Burrows signing out. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.